Hey guys, hello and welcome to Naveed for Speed. And for this video, I am really excited because this car right here, this exciting car right here is a Hyundai IONIQ 5N. It's basically a Hyundai IONIQ 5 that has been upgraded and tinkered with Hyundai's N division. And this car is supposedly one of the best electric driver's car currently. In fact, you can actually characterize this car as one of the best electric performance cars. It starts at £65,000. But it competes with cars like the Audi e-tron GT and the Porsche Taycan. It has 650 horsepower in this sort of hatchback shape. It's sort of a slightly hatchback SUV crossover type thing, but all in this one car. And there's so many modes that this car has that I need to tell you about. It's going to be really exciting. It's going to be very fast paced, and I don't know why I'm still stood here. Let's take it for the drive. The Hyundai IONIQ 5N has already won the 2024 World Performance Car Award, seeing off competition like the BMW M2. It also won Best EV Hot Hatch at the 2024 TopGear.com Electric Awards. That certainly sets the tone for this car's dynamic ability. This was my first chance to get behind the wheel. So the Hyundai IONIQ 5N. There's plenty to talk about with this car. It's such an exciting car, and I'm going to try and go through as much as I can, as quickly as I can. I am here today at the Millbrook Proving Ground. I'm just about to go onto the famous Alpine route, which is basically, just think of all the best country roads that you've driven on, all put together into one silky smooth, essentially almost like a racetrack. That's where I'm going currently. That's where I'm headed. Currently, I've got the car in normal mode. Now, in normal mode, the car is nice and quiet, and it produces around 609 horsepower. But when you put the car into one of the sports modes, when you use the NGB, the Grin Boost, yes, that's what it's called, you can get 650 horsepower for a short period of time. 650 horsepower is a lot of power for a car, for basically an everyday hatchback. This is kind of like a high riding hatchback, a bit of an SUV crossover type thing. But from a practicality perspective, this car as a family car is great. It is a little bit on the wide side, especially maneuvering it around town. It's just under 2 meters wide, including the mirror that puts it just over, including the side mirrors that puts it just over 2 meters wide. But even though it's disguised as a small hatchback, you've got plenty of space inside. For the driver, for the rear passengers, there's so much legroom, and you don't get a transmission tunnel in the bottom, so you can fit 3 passengers in perfectly, and they've all got space for their feet. For the driver, now one of the difference between the ordinary IONIQ 5 and this IONIQ 5N, you've got this central console bit, which in the IONIQ 5 you get a gap there where you can just like store your handbags or whatever, whereas in this car you get this where you can charge your phone, and you get these pads on the side which are there to basically give support to your legs, especially when you're going around bends. But when you are going around bends, because this car is 4-wheel drive, it's got a motor over the front axle, it's got a motor over the back axle, together producing over 600 horsepower. Because of that, the car feels so composed. You get that instant torque, and you can just have the confidence to just place it into the corners. As a driver's car, already I'm feeling so good with this car. I'm feeling that instant torque, I'm feeling the G-forces as you come into the corners. And yeah, you could keep your foot in it. There was a slight amount of understeer there, but you could just neutralize it with a bit of power and you can come straight out. Now, there's a few other buttons on the steering wheel, apart from the NGB, the Grin Boost, which will give you 650 horsepower. There's the drive modes. You can change your drive mode. So now I've got the car into sport mode, which just stiffens everything up. I mean, this car is already a bit more stiffer than the ordinary IONIQ 5N. The car is built on the same production line. It has more welds. It's meant to be a lot more stiffer and a lot more stronger. The car sits lower as well. You sit lower, as you know, the driver and passengers sit lower as well. You get these really cool bucket sport seats with this Alcantara leather. They are not as comfortable as I thought, but they give you great support. They're a little bit on the harder side, but when you are driving a car like this, you want that support, you want to be held into place, and that's what these seats give you. Other than that, you got a load of other buttons on the steering wheel, including these N buttons. Now, I am told that today these N buttons have been set as custom modes. There are several modes in this car, all the modes, some of them that can assist you in giving you the best drifts. You can get clutch kickback, which is when you can send the car sideways, but you also get, if I click that button, you get the sound of an internal combustion engine. Now, that is meant to mimic what an internal combustion engine sounds like. I'm not quite sure if it's quite there yet, but yeah, you can hear it. And if I set it to custom 2, this is meant to be something out of a video game evolution sound, but I'll set it back to the internal combustion engine, because if I then press this button on this side, now I can change my gears. Basically, I can use the flappy paddles behind the steering wheel essentially to change gear. Now, not only do you get a sound with that, you get, you can hear the gear change audibly, but also the torque. The torque is interrupted, so it gives you that feeling of an internal combustion engine as you're changing gear, and you get some pops and bangs from the back of the car, which again mimics an exhaust. And I think that's really cool for making a car like this familiar to an everyday driver, because cars nowadays are becoming unfamiliar, and you've got hot hatch, you've got electric hot hatchbacks like your Fiat Abarth, you've got your Cupra Born E-Boost, but this is so fun. And let's drop a gear, come back on the power. Oh yeah, that is so fun. Around these corners, around these bends, it's composed. Oh yeah, it's everything in one. You've got your everyday practical car. The boot is just under 500 litres. But again, it's still on par with competition. Cars like the Mustang Mach-E, cars like the Kia EV6 GT, it's more powerful than those, and it's on a similar price point. In fact, it's cheaper than the Mustang Mach-E. The Mustang Mach-E costs around £75,000 to start with. This costs around £65,000 to start with, and it competes on power with the likes of your Audis and your Porsches. That's my camera that's just gone flying. That just shows you how good this car is. I am going to slow down now, and I'm going to pick up my camera, but I think I'm going to bring this video to an end, and I'm going to say this car is such a great car as a driver's car, as a performance car. It's won awards for its performance as well. So I think the Hyundai are doing amazing work, and they really are listening to people. They really are listening to what we're after, especially with new EV mandates coming into place. Cars like this is what we want to see. They've just executed it perfectly. I want to thank the SMMT for inviting me to this SMMT test day. I want to thank Hyundai for Hyundai. It's a funny word to say. I want to thank Hyundai for allowing me to drive this car and experience this car. Obviously, this has just been my first drive. Hopefully, I'll get to drive it again at some point. But thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you for the next one when I'm not sure what it will be. It will either be a road trip or a supercar. So I hope to see you there. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and take care.